Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. My name is Maika Cisa Montañez from BS Ed Science 4. As to continue our topic about Episode 4, Learners' Diversity, the Community and Home Environment, I am going to discuss these topics. First, the boomerang's parenting styles. We have four, and the second is environment because we are talking here the home and community. This talks about the environment and how it affects the students' personal growth and development. And lastly, the four learners' development. Let's start from Boomerang's parenting styles. First, we have authoritarian parenting style. Parents are very with their children and expect unwavering and unquestioning obedience. Rules are set by parents and misbehavior is met with withdrawal or affection, physical punishment or threats. So here, the parents use punishments instead of discipline. So for example is withdrawal or taking something like cell phone or allowance or affection. They may not show love for their child or physical punishment and or threats. So we are very familiar about physical punishment. So here the authoritarian parents set rules and enforce consequences with a little consideration with the child's opinion. So, the authoritarian parents focus more on the obedience of the child. Next is permissive parenting style. Parents are not firm or controlling. They have few expectations and may be warm and caring but appear to be uninvolved and uninterested. So we will connect the words rarely, often, and a little interference from the parents. So, the parents in parents permissive parenting styles also make rules and enforce consequences, but it is very rare. And the parents in permissive style believes that their child will learn best with a little interference from them. Okay, so um, the parents here only step when there's a serious problem. Next, we have rejecting and neglecting. So parents are disengaged from children, neither demanding nor responsive to children, provide no structure, supervision, support, or guidance. So the example of parents that belongs to this parenting style are those that don't even ask about the child's about the school or homework of the child. So um, they don't even ask where their child is or who they are with, and they don't spend much time with their child. So it is very negative parenting styles and is not preferable. Lastly, we have authoritative parenting style. Parents achieve a good blend. They are firm yet loving, have clear and reasonable expectations and limits for their children. Treat children with respect and warmth, make children understand consequences of their behavior. So here, just like the authoritarian, the parents make rules, enforce consequences and limitation, but they consider the child's feelings, and they clearly explain the reason behind the rules they are um, implementing inside the house. So the parents here in authoritative parents creates and maintain a positive relationship with their child. So this is an ideal one, the authoritative parenting style. So let's see the results or the impacts of different parenting styles to the children. So the children of authoritarian parents are often unhappy because they have no freedom. They are lack or they lose their freedom. They feel unhappy about that. They are fearful. They are afraid of doing something that will disappoint their parents, and they are fearful to make mistakes, and they are withdrawn. So this feeling is being very quiet and shy, so, inhibited. So they may feel that they are controlled or restrained of doing something. Hostile. So this is the unpleasant or unfriendly student inside the class. And aggressive. So in aggressive, it is more on their behavior because they can't control their feelings, their emotions. That's why they lose their temper and maybe harsh to someone. So they have low self-esteem. Yes, and difficulty with peers because they are a little bit shy and not friendly. Next one is permissive parents. The children of permissive parents believe that their parents do not care them. They are often impulsive. Impulsive means when you make decisions or actions without planning. So your action is um, um, in a in a in a rush way. Yes, aggressive, just like the authoritarian. They become aggressive and lack of self control because they are not they don't have the guidance, the proper guidance and attention from their parents. May they have low levels of independence and responsibility. Even if their parents give them a lot of freedom, those child or children may have low levels of independence because they are not educated about the benefits of being independent, and they are irresponsible with their actions. Yes, because of no proper guidance from their parents. The children of rejecting, neglecting parents are found to be the least competent in their overall functioning and adjustment because they don't feel the warm support from their parents. They maybe forget to set goals and achieve something because there's no one supporting them and no one is expecting something from them. So the children of authoritative parents are socially competent. So because of having a good relationship with their parents and good interaction and proper upbringings, they may be and they have the high chance of being socially competent and self-reliant and have greater ability to show self-control. So this the self-reliant and self-control is being confident with their action. They have higher self-esteem and are better adjusted. So let's now go with the environment. So the community and the home environment is related with this topic, of course, environment. So environment is defined as the surroundings or condition that affects the growth and influence the health and progress of someone. So we have different environment. First, we have family background. So family background, we can assess the family background by giving them an answer sheet or a personal data information sheet with with um, having the personal information from the student and the information about their parents, so that we can identify, or we can know something about the family background and how it affects the growth and development of a child as a student. So family background: if the parents suffer ignorance and wrong values, the children likewise suffer the adverse consequences, because such parents cannot pay much attention to the proper upbringing of their child. Children coming from affluent families or educated parents with the right values can grow and develop more progressively than children coming from the poor families. So here, the poor families and affluent families are being compared. So this is not accurate. This is just to emphasize the difference between the parents who suffers ignorance, or those parents that did not have the proper education or the basic education. So this the children or the students needs the guidance of the parents, and they can also learn from their parents. So if the parents can't can't have or doesn't have the basic literacies, like reading, writing, or solving problems, how can they how can they be a good how can they be a good role model, or how can they raise their childs properly? So unlike those parents that finishes or have a degree, or have an experience, knowledgeable about the values values and moral and moral doings and practices, they can be a good parents, and they can upbring their child with their best. Yes. Secondly, we have community background. So community is a group that shares something in common. Okay, so here the children coming from squatter slum areas and from crimes infested areas have very slim chance of growing progressively because of the bad influence of their neighborhood. Children coming from affluent areas and from average social class have all the opportunities offered by the society for them to attain optimum growth and development. In here, we have also different community background. So, in different areas or location, there are squatter areas and isolated areas, and a good community and bad image community, like those that crimes infested areas. So in community background, this impacts the child because of the influences of the environment in that certain community. In a community, we have different different components, like the church, the establishments, the parks, the hospitals. So if the community provides the needs of the student, the child, so they have the high chance or the opportunities of learning, yes, and of developing, because when the society offers a good community, they can also relate and get information and experience the real world. And sometimes in classrooms, right, we are interrelating our subjects, our topics outside, and we can see those examples in our community. So that's an edge of a good community from non good community background. Lastly, school. So, good schools can develop pupils better than poor schools. Components make the difference between good and poor schools. So, here, the good and poor schools are being compared. So, these three are the components of good schools. So, the teachers, the facilities, and the location. First, if we have an efficient teachers, the learner will learn, but when we have an efficient teachers, the students will suffer. Next is the facilities. If the facilities are adequate, the students will rapidly learn. While if there's inadequate facilities, the students will be retarded in their learning. And the location, of course, when the location of the school is isolated and far from uh, outside environment, noisy environment, so the isolated one can uh, be a conducive learning environment. Okay, so that's the different environment that makes a different uh, makes the diversity of learners. First, we have family background, community background, and school. That's why we students differ from one another. So let's go with the learners development. Okay, so here in physical development, so we recently observed this development from the students in a certain school. Physical development refers to the advancements and refinements of motor skills, or in other words, children's abilities to use and control their bodies. So it involves the growth and changes in the body. So we can describe the physical development by the physical changes, and of course their skills like in motor skills and fine motor skills. Okay, so if they are active in some sports, we can say that they are physically active on that, while the others are just passive, so that they maybe have a and unhealthy physical development. Next is social development. Social development is about improving and well-being of every individual in society so they can reach their full potential. The success of society is linked to the well-being of each and every citizen. Social development means investing people. So in social development, we can relate this with the words partnerships and attitudes and behavior towards other, and of course we will not forget the word self-confidence. Yes, so the preschool, the elementary, high school, and college differs when it comes to social development, maybe because of their uh, building maybe because of their experiences and experiences from school and their own environment and the practice that the teachers had. Next, number 3, learners development is emotional moral development. Emotions play an enormous role in the moral development, moral judgment, and moral behavior of individuals, and have often been ignored by researchers in moral psychology. The emotional intelligence framework provides a useful background to organize the various ways emotions work in moral processes. So emotions are those intense feeling like being happy, being sad, being fear, being joy, being angry. So emotional means the feeling, and moral development is a feeling or emotion, or having a distinct and a correct decision making. So the feelings and the emotions affects the decision making or moral judgment of an individual. So maybe some of the students are not morally matured to decide on something. So the students often differ from being emotional and moral emotional and moral ano emotional and moral stability. So I think the higher grades have the higher emotional moral development than the preschoolers or children. Lastly, cognitive development. Cognitive development is a field of study in neuroscience and psychology focusing on the child's development in terms of information processing, conceptual resources, perceptual skills, language learning, and other aspects of development, adult brain, and cognitive psychology. So, cognitive, it is more about the thinking skills and how an individual figure things out. So, um, this may be observed on the disposition of a child as she or he grow. For example, a student has different disposition in life, and they have different skills when it comes to problem solving or absorbing knowledge from the teacher. And this is a very this is very important because the teacher has a, a great or big role in developing the child's cognitive domain or cognitive aspects. So that's all, and I hope you learned something from our topic, the episode 4, the community and the home environment. Thank you.